Good afternoon and welcome to this program PYO on the Move. This program will bring you, the viewers, up to date with the development of in our country and the development of the People's Progressive Party. Today we have with us a few of our leading comrades, and these comrades has been working in the government and working with the party throughout. They're also members of the steering committee of the people of the WPO of the People's Progressive Party. These comrades of the PYO will bring to you a number of situations, and they will definitely encourage you, and they will explain to you some of the development of our party and some of the development that our party is doing throughout the country. Today with us we have Mr. Govin Singh, and he's one of the members of the PYO steering committee. There is Devon Bremner, and he's from Linden and also a member of the PYO steering committee. And we have Mr. Dexter, Glasgow, also member of the steering committee. And myself, who is your host this afternoon, Mr. Howard Samaroo. I just want to open specifically so that we can talk about Guyana's development under the People's Progressive Party and how it have actually impacted us as members of the PYO and young people in our country. I will open to Comrade Govin so that he can give us some introductory remarks, and he will definitely tell us about the People's Progressive Party plans and programs for young people in our country.
Thank you, Comrade Howard. Comrade Zal, a special good evening.
Hi.
And also good evening to our viewers out there. On behalf of the Progressive Youth Organization, our chairman, Comrade Irfan Ali, executive members, and our membership of the Progressive Youth Organization, our presidential candidate of the People Progressive Party Civic, and President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, I want to send out greetings to all Guyanese. Let me say that I am very pleased to be here. This is yet another program to inform our membership and our supporters out there and Guyanese on the whole on some of the works the Progressive Youth Organization are actually doing on the present campaign trail, and also Guyana's development as it relates to youth on the whole. Before I go into that, I just want to read a quote from the Caribbean Development Bank, what they would have indicated during 2014. As I quoted, Guyana is a good example of a country that has done some of the right things. They have come very, very long distance in terms of the fiscal situation. And this quote is from the Caribbean Development Bank, February 2014. And you can, from this quote here, actually, you can see the confidence the Caribbean Development Bank got in Guyana. And we all know from 1992, the government of Guyana, under the stewardship of the People Progressive Party Civic, has been making tremendous progress and development in Guyana, and also for young people in Guyana on the whole. So as we go further into our program, we will so inform our viewers, our supporters, and Guyanese on the whole of some of the aspects of development in Guyana.
That's right. Thank you very much, Comrade Govin. Recently, I saw in the newspaper whereby the opposition, specifically David Granger, was saying that Guyanese are unhappy people, and looking at where we came from, from a country that was backward, a country that many of our Guyanese lost hope. And many of the Guyanese in Guyana had left the country and they went overseas to live. Because knowing the hardship in our country at that time, and today we are seeing this aspect, and the opposition is coming to tell us in Guyana and tell us as young people that there's a bunch of unhappy people in Guyana. I think this is one of the things that we need to point out to our people, so that they could understand where we came from generally. So I just want to start on that point. Basically, I will ask Bremner to give us a little, overview of the situation that is happening, and his involvement as a young person in Linden, and to tell us about the PPP civic government's development and what they're doing for young people in general.
All right. Thank you very much, Howard, and pleasant good evening to all viewers. It's indeed a pleasure to share your company once more. First of all, I would like to endorse what my colleague to the right said in terms of what would have been taking place over the past years under the PPPC government. It is fair to say, and we have a lot to boast about in terms of our various developmental programs that would have been put in place in all the various sector, of which we'll go into details later down in the program. But I must say a perception that persons have been getting carried away with, right, is when we speak of development, the persons often try to compare us to these developed countries and so on, right? It's like you have an American will come home and say, this is a petty development, or this is what you guys call development. This is what the government got to do, right? I want to say to you folks, well, if these are some of the things that government got to do, well then maybe we've been doing a damn good job. And to add to that also, I want to say to the folks out there that development is a process. Development is not no one-time event or experience, right? There's no perfect government in the world. I think considering the circumstances, we have been doing a great job as a government. So we need to look at this development thing from a holistic point of view and look at some of the positives, the negatives, and the opportunities and the threats, right? Therefore, we have to give a proper analysis as to when we make a total assessment of what's going on, right? So on that note, I want to hand you back to Howard, who will further discuss.
That's right. When we look at the development of our country, we always have to say this to our young people. Looking at where we came from in 1992, Guyana was just a bankrupt country, generally. Now, to date, we have seen the Carl Greenwich, who is saying to us as young people that he will be, and I hope he will not be the next Minister of Finance, because we have seen the last report, the last budgeted report, and we have seen the decline, right? We've seen decline in rice, we've seen decline in sugar, we've seen a decline in so many areas under his watch as Minister of Finance. And to date, I can tell you that from 1992 to now, we have seen tremendous growth in our country.
Yeah.
And the persons who don't want to see this growth I will say to you that there's something wrong with these people who don't want to see the growth specifically in our country. Yeah, you were saying something, Govin.
Before 1992, our external debt to GDP was 600%. Today, our external debt to GDP is 48%. So you can imagine the state of our economy at that time.
That's right.
And the Minister of Finance at that time was Mr. Carl Greenwich, right? Previously, before 1992, our inflation was triple digits. Today, our inflation is less than 1%. So you can see the massive improvement the massive implementation of policies in Guyana, especially fiscal policies. And I want to quote another quote from the International Monetary Fund, what they said about Guyana. And quoted, they said, during the last decade, Guyana's strong macroeconomic performance has been contributed to the reduction in public debts levels and sustained poverty reduction. International Monetary Fund, December 2013. And this here is from a well respectable organization, the International Monetary Fund, and this is what they had to say for Guyana and the development of Guyana. So this is not President Ramatar or the People Progressive Party civic boasting about their own development or their status of development. Mm-hmm. This is coming from a well established institution, the International Monetary Fund.
That's right, because I think what we're seeing today across our country is that the lies are being peddled by the opposition all the time. The opposition want us to feel that, look, there is everything will be all right under their if they get into power. But we have seen the track record of the People's Progressive Party. When I was going to school, I've learned one thing: a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And we have seen a bird in the hand. The People's Progressive Party is that bird in the hand to make sure that we take our country forward. The fight for our country is the fight for all Guyanese. And under this party, I can assure you that we understand the effects of what is happening today across the world. And that is why we are fighting to build our Guyana. A Guyana that is democratic, where each and every one of us can have a say. And where the big pie in our country can be shared equally among each and every one of us. You know, so this is what the PPP is about. It's not about power, right? It's about developing our young people, developing the skills of our young people, and to make sure that we create jobs for our young people, and create the necessary social infrastructure, and to make sure that we meet each and every person across our country. I think that is what we, as a government, the People's Progressive Party civic government, will be doing and will continue to do in the future. So I will call Dexter to give us a little insight on the development of our country and his involvement and what the PPP has been doing for us as young people generally.
Thank you very much, Howard. Good evening to you viewers. Howard, listen to my colleagues. It is clear. Facts do not lie. If you were to compare two entities, you have to look at their track record. I, as a young person, I have seen experienced this country under the PNC, and I've experienced country under the PPP. I, as a rational person, will look at the figures, look at the way things have changed, things have progressed. And anyone who is fair and who shows some level of reasoning could never compare the PNC and the PPP under no circumstances. If we were to look at it in terms of infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, what we can see, we're not talking about blind persons, we're talking about persons who can see what's going on. We will see new infrastructure, schools. And I'm not speaking only of Georgetown, I'm speaking about across the country, because my job entails me moving across the 10 administrative regions. I have seen new infrastructures. I've seen not only infrastructures, but teachers have been trained. And we're talking about persons from across the country. We're talking about health centers that are there. We're talking about not only health centers, but drugs in health centers. But there's this perception that persons on the coast receive that development is only centered only among a few. And that is not so. If we want, we must speak the truth. And the truth, as Govin rightly said just now, was written by not a governmental organization, but international organizations that we look up to. So development on all fronts under the PP has been consistently been improving. Govin touched on the economic figures. Bremner touched on the social area of our country in terms of youths. But I want to speak specifically of youth development in the hinterland. Growing up in the hinterland, I experienced a dilapidated education system. If, for example, you have 1,000 persons of school age, there will be like less than 25% of that 1,000 who are actively involved in school. Today, we can speak proudly, and it's something all of us as a human being is entitled to, which is a sound primary education. This country has received universal primary education, and we are close to achieving universal secondary education, which means that once you're of school age, you have access to a school. Not only going to school, but we're talking about government assisting persons to go to school. Recently, there was a talk of, and the people were making laugh of it, whereby government is giving $10,000 for persons to go to school. But the $10,000, the persons who receive it, they were very thankful. Certainly, because I have interacted with a lot of single parents, and they were very, very grateful for the $10,000. Not only just a handout of